So I want to take some few minutes to engage us in the thrust of this conversation. And we are asking ourselves a critical question. How can digital transformation improve utility of urban laws? Because we remember, we have just said that urban laws play a critical role in defining the relationship, or what we call the social contract, between the governed and the person governing. So how can digital transformation then improve the utility of those particular laws? So there are about 4 to 5 areas that we are looking at, that we are saying there is need for some element of input. One, there would be improved transparency based on readily available information and data. Digitization and digital transformation will ensure that we have readily available data and information. So if citizens within a particular urban area or within a particular city are looking for information, be it about decisions of development, be it about decisions on who is responsible for, let's say, service provision, that information will be easily available, because in this case, most probably the bylaws are already digitized and we are able to access them. Secondly, there will be improved public participation through what we call e-participation. In most of our African cities, there is already quite some conversation about the role of participation, and and even at the global level, participation has been taken as a very critical element for sustainability, for sustainable development, for sustainable transformation of people's lives, and so on and so forth. So e-participation is an important aspect, but it can only be realized when, first of all, the laws are already digitalized. They are already in a format that is easily accessible by the participants, number one. Number two, the institutions. You remember I talked about the procedural aspects of planning law, of urban laws. Then there will also be frameworks that have been put that allows people to participate without necessarily having to congregate within a particular area. So you have a lot of new technology that has come up, a lot of new ways of engagement, social media. Those aspects should not only be left for entertainment purposes. Social media should not only be for entertainment purposes. Those can be quite some good avenues to engage, in fact, certain facets of our citizenry in our urban areas. There will also be improved monitoring and evaluation, and this is important because when data and information is available, easily accessible, and the laws, for example, provide frameworks that allows the citizens to engage in monitoring of activities within our cities. Then, for example, offenses that are there in terms of, let's say, somebody engaging in a development or in an activity that is against the regulations or the laws that are provided, people are able to engage the authorities, and are able to engage in a clear reporting framework, because we have all these, we have created platforms that then allows for people to engage within that particular framework. The most critical thing about this is that it will bring in some element of the citizens being in a position to not necessarily leave the activities that they engage in on a day-to-day basis to also engage in governance. I think the challenge within most of our urban areas, especially within the developing world, is that a lot of the citizens are also busy with trying to engage in economic livelihood activities. So when you also want them to engage in urban governance issues, so you want to engage them in meetings, it becomes a big challenge, because somebody then has to leave their day-to-day activity or wherever they are earning their daily bread to come and engage in a participatory framework, for example, or to even engage in reporting of activities that could be happening within the urban setup that are against the existing urban laws. But then through digital transformation, if we have e-participation, e-engagement frameworks and systems, then one does not necessarily have to look for alternative time, to engage. You can as well engage in these particular activities as you proceed with your work. A few about challenges in the application of urban laws towards a digital transformation. The major challenge here, maybe if we just pick on one or two, the first big challenge is about the unrealistic expectations of law reforms. Yeah, legal reforms, sometimes take quite some time. It is also consumes a lot of resources. And also, definitely, you'll also have some element of people who are not responsive to the particular needs of the day. So that also becomes a critical challenge within our urban setups. The other challenge is about the reality gap, because we find that most of our urban areas of our cities, have what we call a duality kind of character. The aspects of informality versus the formality divide. Yeah, and sometimes as we try to transform our cities into what we call modern African cities, sometimes it takes a little bit of a tug war as that transformation occurs. So those are some of the few challenges that we are able to cut. Now, so as we then conclude this conversation, how do we make this work? How do we make urban laws be responsive to digital transformation and vice versa? One is we need to create some clear legislative and regulatory frameworks that are flexible and adaptable to the new ways of urban governance and urban management, and that also are responsive to the new technology advancements that we are having within our urban space. That therefore will also require aspects of amendment, that we have also to amend some of our urban laws to provide flexibility within these aspects that we are looking at as relates to urban management. And lastly, some ways again in terms of a way forward. We also need to provide some element of resourcing within the various levels of government and within the various levels of the administrative frameworks that we have within our urban areas. I did mention the aspect of improving the laws. For example, today we have issues about artificial intelligence. We have aspects also of electric vehicle technology, energy technology, robotics. All these needs to find their ways within our urban management or legal framework, because if it doesn't, then for example, if you look at electric vehicle technology, for example, that has to be integrated within the design standards or that we have, so that when we are designing our infrastructure, we design infrastructure that is responsive to such kind of technology. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for engaging and also for listening. Thank you.